All right, guys, so we're going to start the adidas logo. Now, on my artboard, there's a feature here called layers. The next one's called assets. The next one is artboards. You can add another artboard. You can do this by clicking the new artboard button, and another sheet of paper will go right next to it, okay? You can also do this another way. Document setup, edit artboards. You could hold Alt and click and drag another artboard side by side. But I think just going to the artboards, clicking this plus sign is a easier, faster way to do the add. So now you have two 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. Mine's are landscape. Again, if you didn't do landscape, fix this now. Click document setup or file document setup, same thing. Click the artboard. Make sure you're on the classic, Essentials Classic, and then you can have the options for right here, changing the orientation of the page, okay? All right, moving forward, let's go and bring in the Adidas logo. We're gonna go File, Place, Adidas logo, place it, slap it in. It's big, let's shrink it down so it fits the sheet of paper. I'm holding Shift and Alt. Okay, so, what I'm going to do here, and I made a mistake, so I'm going to fix this right now, is I'm going to unlock this. I'm going to press Command X or Control X on a PC, or you can also just say Cut. I'm going to go back to the original, and then I'm going to say Edit, Paste, and Place, or Paste in front or back. Control F, Control V. These are another ways of putting it back into place, but I'm putting it in a different layer. So see how it's on this layer? Lock it. Then go back to my new, or I can type in, this is the Nike logo, and I could just make another layer for Adidas, okay? And I'll lock the Nike logo so I don't touch it. Now, this is interesting on how you get attack this many ways. You might say, oh, sir, I'll get the rectangle tool, rotate it. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but I think the pen tool or the line tool, if you wanted to, is a better option for this. I'm a pen tool kind of guy, so I'm just going to go back to the pen tool. And here, let me just minimize this interface so you can see more of the Illustrator here. This one, click once, let go. Now notice my graphics don't have a color assigned to the stroke or the fill. Doesn't mean the graphic doesn't exist. It still exists. It's just in a wireframe. So right now, the reason why it's green is because my layer color is green. But once I click nothingness, like something outside the area, you're like, oh, sir, I lost my graphic. Well, technically you didn't. If you go to View, and let me just go to the top here, and just say go to Outline Mode, my graphic still exists. I just don't have an assigned color, okay? So you could still draw that way, but typically people like to assign a graphic color to it. So I'm going to click on this, just double click for now, and just pick a magenta color to see the contrast. So now I have a stroke thickness. On your stroke tool, you'll notice that you can change the thickness. I'm okay with leaving the default size, but if you wanted this to be thicker or thinner, you can adjust the parameters of that line thickness over here in the stroke tool, okay? So, again, decent job, not fairly accurate, direct selection tool. Guys, be careful. A lot of rookies who use this tool, they'll click the line, and they're like, oh, I want to fix this point, and they end up moving the whole line. Remember, the direct selection tool, you have to hover over a point and anchor point. Click on it. Notice how this one's highlighted in green, the other ones are still blank. When you click a select point, you can adjust that specific point. So be careful. Make sure you're clicking the point and not the whole object, okay? At this point, I could just fill in the color. So I'm going to say no stroke. Let's swap it so it's a fill color. Okay. Now, this Adidas logo technically is the same shape, kind of, just a longer version of it. So you could essentially, if you wanted to just go to the pen tool and attack it as is, or duplicate this, holding the Alt key, holding Shift to keep the same line. And then watch this little trick. If I get my direct selection tool, specify this point, hold Shift and specify that point, I can click and drag these two lines higher, keeping the lower part. Do you see how I did there? Okay. Hold Alt again, duplicate this, essentially it's the same base. Click on that point, hold shift, tell the computer I want to add this point. So shift allows you to add points. Click and drag this up to the, whoa, hey, area that you wanted to fix. And that's that part. Now, the typography aspect, this is very cool. The Adidas font is actually just a combination of circles and rectangles. And the S, which is a very organic shape. So watch this, guys. If I get, and we're going to explore the rectangle and the ellipse tool here. Let's go to the ellipse tool. I am just going to go with a stroke. If I click and drag, and here's a little cool trick I'm going to show you. Press Command R. Click and drag a guideline for the edge of the A, and click and drag the ruler guideline for the top of the A. That intersecting point is where I'll start my stroke. Holding shift makes a circle. Okay? So here's a circle. Now, what I'm going to do here is show you that I made a circle. Okay? Now what I can do is press Control C, it copies. I'm going to paste in front the same shape. So technically I have the same shape in front of each other. I'm going to hold Shift and Alt at the same time, and I am going to make the inside color. Now, it's kind of confusing. Let me just move this color away. I can specify that size. Okay? Now, let me just change the color here so you guys don't get confused. So let me just make a light pink. Oh, sorry. My stroke color, no stroke. So technically, I don't have a true circle because this is just, and you're like, well, Mr. Almeida, make it white. Yeah, but technically, if I were to bring this over top of that shape, it's not a true donut shape. So I gotta donut it. To do this, I'm gonna bring my Pathfinder tools. Go to Window, click Pathfinder. Now, if I had this popped up, you would see the Pathfinder tools available to you right here. Okay, I like using the Pathfinder toolbox on its own. It has more options, but essentially for this job, it'll do the trick. What I'm going to do for this is I'm going to tell the computer that this shape here, let me give it a different color. If I select both of them, and all I did was get my selection tool, highlight over both, and say, I want the shape in front, the blue, to minus the shape behind it. Boom. It trimmed the shape below it. Now, note, this the A, the D, well, I'll do this D and duplicate it again. Same A, so I'm going to be smart about it. The A just duplicates it. So I'll do the A properly, bring it over there, do the D properly, and bring it over there. So be smart about how you attack the Adidas logo. Now, this part here is just a rectangle. Let me show you a different color. Oops. So I'm going to click and drag a rectangle. And it should just perfectly intersect the inside of there. Now, technically these are two shapes. But if I highlight both of them, do you guys see the intersecting line? I'm going to tell the computer on my Pathfinder, click the Unite tool, and it unites the shape as one. Now, Mr. Almeida, why couldn't you just grab that A, duplicate it, bring it to the D, grab your direct selection tool, highlight those two nodes, and bring those up? Sure, that works. Okay. Grab your selection tool, hold Alt, duplicate, bring that over. We're almost done, right? We're not telling you to reinvent the wheel, just copy and paste the same object over and over again, right? How would I attack the eye, guys? Any suggestions? Frank? Rectangle tool. Now, the trick is, Frank, would you say that in the original logo, let me just go back to my layers and hide this for a sec. Does the dot of the eye connect with the actual shape above? Yes. So take note, when I'm marking this, I'm looking for that. So when I make the rectangle shape, sure, I can make a dot overlap it. Touch the other one. Okay? And just to keep the thickness the same, I'm going to duplicate this shape, hold Alt and Shift, and then, in this case, I just have to stretch it. So I'll just grab the transform tool and just bring it down to where I think it is. What I'm going to do here is highlight both, use the Unite shape to blend all these shapes together. Essentially, your Adidas logo is going to be all one shape. So I'm going to grab all these and unite them as one, just so they're the same color. Now, the tricky part is the S. How do you think I'm going to attack the S? Anybody? Haley, sorry? Pen tool is probably the best way. It's tricky. This is where you have to spend some time. I'll demonstrate really. You want me to demonstrate? You guys can do that on your own. Pen tool it. Okay, I'll do it quick. Pen tool it. The tricky part is S's are not easy. Oh, let me swap it. So it's easier just to stroke it. And maybe watching this video helps some non-pen tool users how to attack. I'm going to hold Alt on my keyboard, refresh this point, go straight. I look at apexes, so I see that curve is going to end right there. The new curve kind of starts over here. Actually, I'm going to hold Alt and refresh this point. Clicking and dragging. This is one of those tools where maybe watching me actually with my keyboard and mouse work this. Not bad. Swap it. Then I'll go in with my direct selection tool, highlight certain points, and fine tune the accuracy of the arms, then the placement of. Okay, so don't feel you have to be super accurate at first. You can just grab. Let me bring an extra handle there. Okay, anyways, fine tune it, make that S. The R, here's the trick, guys. It's called glyphs. Go to Window, type thing called glyphs. Box pops up, and usually the registration mark is a graphic on a normal font. Try looking for it. Help me out, guys. Did you see it? Did I scroll through it already? There's a trademark. Where's the R? Oh, there it is, the R. So with your font, get your type tool, click once, double click the glyph, in this case the R tool. The R, is that the R? Let me just double check here. There you go. In this case, I'm going to right click, create outline. This makes it now a vector. Okay, make sure you do that because and just replace it and size it up. There you go, guys. Any questions before I end the video? All right, sweet.